Oh, hey there, gang. Hey, so Quad Cortex came out with their big new 2.0 update, and I've been using the Quad Cortex for a little over a month now. I bought it brand new, and I was really excited when I got the email from them saying, back everything up, look out for the update. And also my salesperson that sold it to me told me that, hint, hint, there's going to be some other cool things. And I was pretty excited about what he hinted at, plus hoping that they were going to come out with some cool stuff. So it's a really cool update. I'm going to get to whether I think it's worth it and how I feel about it in a couple of minutes. I think the update's really cool. I'm a little disappointed by a couple of things. First of all, a desktop editor. If you saw their list of what was a priority for them to address in upcoming updates, desktop editor and availability of plugins were 1 and 2. Neither of those happened. That was disappointing because I'm telling you, a desktop editor, the Wi-Fi in this thing blows. There's just no other way to address it. It blows. The chip is bad. I mean, my router, I've got 1 gigabyte speed here and a tri-band super duper gamer router that can handle everything in this huge house. It's 30 feet away and this thing can't get it for me to even use the cloud. I have to take it into the other room and do all my backing up and downloading there, 30 feet away. That's stupid. So a desktop editor is kind of a big deal. That's what I love about the Helix products or Line 6 stuff. Amazing. I can back up. I can do it all in the app and then boom, have it in there, save it, done. Even my Zoom MS devices, those little multi-effect devices, there's not only a Zoom app, right, which is okay, but there's a free app that's amazing. ToneLib makes a free app. Incredible that makes those devices worth way more. So, a desktop app, the plugin thing, okay, that would be really cool because I've heard some of their plugins and they're amazing. Here's the big one for me. There's no reverse delay. How can there be no reverse delay? I couldn't believe that. I was pretty shocked by that. I was hoping that was coming in this update. It did not, which is why I have a little mini flashback, a TC flashback that I just use for reverse. That's it, because I can't believe that the Quad Cortex doesn't have it. Another thing is, when I went to back up, I spent a few hours in the studio tweaking my Deluxe Reverb and AC15 patches that I have on the cloud that a lot of you have said you appreciated. I was tweaking them some more. I spent about 2 to 3 hours doing that and some other stuff, and then I was gonna go back it up. But as what happens with devices like this, when I went to do it, it wouldn't let me do it unless I downloaded the new software. And then, of course, all my work was gone. That was very disappointing. This hybrid mode is cool. I don't know that I'm going to use it very often. I may, but the addition of the hybrid mode, as well as some of the other mode things, makes it so that you basically have to redo all your patches. You basically have to redo your presets because to make it work, I was finding I went back, I downloaded some stuff, tried to get my old patches back, and then I was like, wait a minute, why isn't this working? Oh, it's because of the way that the new modes works and you have to turn it off in scenes and way too complicated. You're going to have to redo your presets. Your patches are going to change. So I'm going to have to deal with that. Not really excited about that. But, there's a lot of new captures. I love that they do that. I'm going to start playing with captures more in the future. So I'll be sharing some with you of some cool stuff that I have, from pedals to amps and whatnot, and maybe some specialty devices. The new amps are cool. They're more high-gainy ones. They're not stuff I would use. I like the John Petrucci clean one. That sounds dynamite. And the lead one sounds really cool. I just don't know that I'll use that. So it's definitely tailored a little more to the high-gain person, but cool. They sound great. So all that's good. All that's good. I'm just frankly a little disappointed in the update. It addresses some things that are really good for me personally, but overall, I still think there's a lot of holes. So that takes me to whether or not after a month of using the Quad Cortex every day and making free patches for you all to share, do I think it's worth it? Yes and no. Okay. Yes, because I think it sounds incredible. I definitely get better amp sounds. The amps feel like they have more heft to me. They feel more like real amps than any other device I've used. And trust me, I've been using Line 6 products for 20 years and the Helix and HX Stomp for God knows how many years. How long have they been out? I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but I've often struggled with the low end of any of those amps. Like, to me, there's a snap in the lower frequencies of a real amp. There's a pluck, there's a, that you get, like it's a feel thing. I get that with the Quad Cortex. So that's a huge thumbs up for me over all the other products I've tried. Head Rush. I haven't tried Fractal yet. But I have tried Kemper. I've tried, Moore. I've tried, all the new ones because you've seen me do videos and I've done reviews of them for American Songwriter Magazine, which you can find online. So I've tested all these things. So the amps to me feel better in the Quad Cortex. The effects are lacking, not just reverse delay, but other effects. Like the effects they have are really good. I'm happy with the effects they have. I actually like the reverbs, shockingly, because I'm super picky about reverbs, but I don't have to tweak too much to get something that works for me in a patch. That might have to do with the amps and everything that comes before it. The EQs are fantastic, but there's a lot of stuff missing. Like a lot of really basic effect classics that I think they are missing. So that's a thumbs down on that. But the quality of the effects they have is definitely a thumbs up. The EQs are fantastic. I find them to be very responsive and very accurate. That's a huge thumbs up, which helps when I'm creating my presets. And the drives are pretty good. They're good. They're at least as good as Line 6s. And I've grown to like Line 6s after initially not liking them. So the drives are good. I would probably use, and I have been using my own drive up front, my own preamp drivey things and fuzzes. I'm not going to use the Quad Cortex. I'm not going to use the Helix. I'm not going to use any other device for that. I'm very particular preferences for that. So overall, the effects are good. I love the routing capabilities. That's all good. The sound is good. So after owning the Quad Cortex for a month, I would say, yes, I can recommend it. I'm happy with it. I think you get better sounds faster with the Quad Cortex. Definitely. And I think for gigging, that's important for me. The other thing I can do with it that's super cool that I haven't been able to really recreate with any other device, and I've put this patch up there on the cloud, is I can have my acoustic plugged into one input and my electric in the other. I can have them going out, separate outputs, and all I have to do is switch instruments. And I'm not diming the CPU by any means, even if I use the Global EQ, which, by the way, the Global EQ edition of this new update's fantastic, but it uses a lot of CPU. Fortunately, most of mine were around 48% CPU, and when I threw the Global EQ in there, it brought it up to 71, still safe. And I'm only going to use the Global EQ to adjust for guitars. So for instance, most of my patches were made with one guitar, one electric guitar. That's my favorite, but I'm taking another one on the road on this tour. I found that had needed to have a little bit of a cut at 244 hertz. No problem. I put it in the Global EQ and I assigned it to output 1 and 2, and the acoustic patch is assigned to output 3 and 4. Done. So that's a genius thing. So that's another reason why I can recommend the Quad Cortex. The only reason I wouldn't recommend it is because of the reasons I've stated before and the price. It's bloody freaking expensive. $2,000 all in with tax. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I do think it's worth it, but I don't think it's worth it for everybody. I think there are people that are going to go like, what? Are you out of your mind? I could get a used HX Stomp for $500. Yes. And that's what you should do if that's what works for you. But again, for me, because I'm going to be switching between acoustic and electric, and because I haven't been happy with the electric sounds I've gotten before, and I've got a looper, I've got the freeze. The looper and freeze are really freaking awesome in the Quad Cortex. It's worth it to me. It may not be worth it to you. I think it's overpriced. Honestly, $2,000. Is a lot of money. If it was $1,500, it'd be a lot easier to digest. I mean, $1,500 all in with tax and everything. But it is what it is. I hope they update and they get that desktop software. I hope they do offer the plugins, although that's not a deal killer for me. And I hope they catch up on some of these effects like reverse delay and other ones that are like no-brainers. Do you know what I mean? So, yes, it's worth it. Yes, it's too expensive. Yes, it has issues. But I'm going to continue to use it because it's the only one giving me the results that I need. And I will continue to put up patches for you for free at the Quad Cortex Cloud. What do you think?